Hello, everyone, and welcome to another very nice game. A lot of you guys requested. It's from the Esports World Cup and from the losers bracket, as both of them have been eliminated from the winners bracket. Levon, I believe, was eliminated by Anish Giri, and it's strange that Andrey Esipenko is playing, as he's already qualified for the main event. So I think maybe he didn't know he was going to qualify. Maybe there was some sort of additional points that were being accounted for, so he applied for this late qualifier. But okay, doesn't really matter, as this is a great game. And there are still 4 more places for the late qualifier that can be filled, and the players will get to join these incredible players like Magnus Hikaru, Nepo, MBL, Jan Krzysztof Duda, Arjun Ergesi, Nodrbek Abdusator, Vladislav Artemiev, Alireza Firuja, Esipenko, who is obviously already qualified, Fabiano Caruana, and Wei Yi. So that will be the main event, and these 12 players will be joined by the 4 players who qualify late in the Esports World Cup 2025. So this is one of the games that you guys requested. I thought it was a really beautiful one, especially since I'm very, very much interested in how Levon will shift from winning the official random tournament, in Las Vegas just brilliantly. He just crushed everyone, and the final against Hans was also incredible. How he will shift to regular chess, and will it work? So let's see what happens. Levon with white opens with pawn to c4. So starting off with an English opening, we have pawn to e6, the Agincourt defense, knight f3, and pawn to d5. We have pawn to e3, knight to f6, and pawn to b3. Again, all pretty standard stuff. Bishop e7, bishop to b2, castles kingside, and pawn to d4. Again, a very, very standard, all been played before. c5, knight b to d2, and c captures on d4. We have e captures and pawn to b6. We have bishop to d3. As usual, Levon puts his bishops to target the opponent's king. We have bishop to b7, castles kingside, and knight to c6. We have queen to e2, developing the queen, connecting the rooks, and the rook to c8. We have rook f to d1, and now there are a couple of moves that have been played in this position. For example, the queen gets developed to d6, also the queen gets developed to c7, but Esipenko plays a move that I myself have played a couple of times, not in this exact same position, but as this is sometimes I like to play similar setups, rook to c7. And the idea is, fairly straightforward. You're clearing the back rank for the queen to go to a7 to a8. The queen bishop battery, once you capture on c4, for example, will open up and will put some very strong pressure along this diagonal. And you already have a rook on c7. So once you move the queen, the other rook can come to c8. You have double rooks on the c file, and you have a very, very enjoyable game. And of course, it is now as of move 12 that we have a completely new game. Rook 8 to c1 and queen to a8. Just continuing with the set plan, we have pawn to a3 and the d captures on c4. We have b captures and the rook f to c8. So a very, very natural play. However, in this particular case, rook f to c8 loses the game. For the Esipenko, Levon doesn't punish it right away, even though it's very, very hard to defend what Levon does. Levon just plays knight g5, and it's sort of a barbarian move that we are accustomed to see Levon make. He just puts a knight in front of the enemy king, and now you defend. If you can defend, great. If not, you're going to lose, terribly. And the way to win this on the spot is pawn to d5 right away. But this is very, very difficult to calculate, and I imagine Levon wasn't, he just wasn't planning on spending 5 minutes of the 8 minutes that he has in calculating a move like pawn to d5. Point is that black doesn't have to capture anything. Black can just go knight d8, and now you open up the queen bishop battery. And now, okay, you do win the e4 square, but black can just ignore you again. And now good luck calculating whatever happens here. You can play knight d4, but now let's see, pawn to e5. What do you play? Knight to f5. You put pressure on the bishop. You put pressure on g7. You're threatening bishop captures on e5. But now black can play g6. And again, good luck calculating this. You can play bishop captures on e5, attacking the rook. G captures on f5, and now you have to play knight g3, and then queen h5, and then knight captures on f7, and okay, then you break through. So yeah, a lot to calculate here. Levon played something similar. He played knight to g5, and while it is possible to defend this, it's when I say possible, you have to really, really calculate hard. Andrey played pawn to h6, which is the best and only way to defend this, but okay, you have to allow the attack. Knight captures on e6 by Levon, f captures, queen captures on e6 check, king to f8, better than king to h8, and pawn to d5. Okay, knight goes to d8, kicks away the queen, queen to f5. Now, if you eliminate the knight, you also get access to the h7 square. So knight to f7 and knight to e4. Now, the knight on e4 can't really be ignored. You're attacking f6 3 times, so you have to either move it or capture something. And the best way to defend is to play rook to e8. Point being that even after this move, black will still have a very hard time at defending. You can still capture on f6. For example, bishop captures, g captures, and now queen to h7. Queen captures on f6, you just bring the queen into the game and nothing really happening here. And if queen h7, okay, it's a nice move. You will play rook e5, the game continues, and your queen is defended, so you don't have to worry about anything. Even if you move the knight, will not be an issue. So that's the only way to do it. However, knight captures on e4 is what Andrey played, and now Levon is completely winning. He played bishop captures on e4, and rook captures on c4 by Esipenko, and queen to h7. It's the only winning move, but I imagine the first one you guys thought of, because there's a very, very particular threat, and that is queen captures or bishop captures on g7. So how can you deal with this? Bishop to f6, of course. Even the top move recommended by the engine is rook captures on e4, but that's just a silly way of defending, as you can still just play rook captures on c8, and after queen captures, bishop captures on g7 check, and after king 8, queen captures on e4, and I mean, you're not surviving this. But of course, Esipenko probably thought that he was still okay, that he can defend. He played bishop to f6. Bishop captures on f6, and now g captures on f6, and this is the beauty of this position. There's only one move that wins, and I don't know if it's maybe it's the first move you look at, maybe it's a move that's impossible to see. Have at it. Feel free to pause the video while I give you a couple of seconds. Yes, the move is the unbelievable queen capture. I'm only kidding. I was away for a week, so I thought I'd give you guys a scare. It is bishop to g6. And look at this. A mate is being threatened, and there is no way to defend it. If you play a move like rook to c7, obviously your rook is way overworked. You're just going to capture on c4, and that's it. It's a free rook. The rook cannot capture on c4 and defend the mate on f7. If you try something like rook captures on c1, then it's just mate in 1. Nothing is defending that checkmate. So you're really limited here at what you can do. Esipenko tried pretty much the only thing there's left. He played bishop captures on d5, which defends the f7 square with the bishop, but now rook captures on c4, and the problem is, again, if you play rook captures on c4, then you can play bishop captures on f7, and that's it. You just resign on the spot, because if bishop captures, the queen is undefended. Queen to h8 with check. Now, if you move the king, you're going to lose the queen, and if you play bishop at the g8, then you capture on f6, and then if bishop to f7, then you have many options like rook to d8 with check. And even though, yes, black is threatening mate, black will never get a move, because everything happens with check. Captures, again with check, and you will easily be able to stop a mate. You just move a pawn, and that's it. However, after rook captures on c4, bishop captures on c4 was played, and now again only one move, but it's one move that was never possible until this moment in time. Have at it. Yes. It is rook to d7. Now that the bishop is on c4, the rook is no longer threatening checkmate via the c1 square, and the rook to d7 can be played. It was played, and he was in this position on move 27 that Andrey Esipenko resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You could prolong it maybe a little bit with a move like rook c7, simply to defend against mate and also prepare queen to e8. But even with perfect play, you would only get an endgame that is impossible to hold. Something like rook captures on c7, queen to e8. Okay, you're defending, but now white can play this however white wants to play this, but you can also force a queen trade with queen to h8, and you're still going to win the game fairly easily after knight captures, bishop captures, and now, okay, you decide whether you want to play rook against bishop or you want to play rook against knight. Doesn't matter. You can capture, or you can go for checking d7, rook captures, and of course 4 pawns each. The rook will easily overpower the bishop. There is no question about that. So yeah, after rook to d7, Esipenko resigned, and another brilliant victory for Levon Aronian. Even though this wasn't freestyle or chess 960 or official random, Levon showed that he can still just play a move like knight g5 and defend. That's how Levon plays, and that's why we love to see Levon play. And now joining these incredible players are Nihal Sarin, Javokir Sindarov, Anish Giri, and Levon Aronian. And as Anish is the one who eliminated Levon, sort of eliminated, he forced him into the lower bracket. Levon, bounced his way back and, qualify for the main event. He will have a chance to get back at Anish in the main event that starts tomorrow. And also, this is how it basically looks when they play. So this was Levon against Esipenko. Not a lot of people in the crowd, but it's an online event, so people are mostly watching online at home. But yeah, if you want, you can also join and watch them play in person. I don't know, I would love to watch top players play in person if they actually moved the pieces, but watching them play with a mouse, I don't know, would be a little bit weird. I mean, I'd definitely go once, and then I have no idea if I would enjoy it. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nicely played by Levon. As usual, he's just the master of the mystic arts at the highest possible level. I would like to thank Ricardo Cardona Lopez, James White, Robert Pande, Christian Medical and Professional Services, and Peter Albert for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions such as this one and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.